Welcome to Let's Be Briefed. I'm Sarah,
And I'm Sydney.
and this week we're talking about robots. I saw an MIT article written in April 2023 and wanted to discuss mostly because to me, like, the future implications of this seemed pretty, like, dystopian, but we can talk about it. And, like, this episode will be more, like, free flowing than past ones. Yeah, so this is about in vitro fertilization by robots, so IVF. So we'll decide what we feel about that, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but there's quite a few companies looking at automating different parts of like the IVF process. So the first, like that was in the article, was called Overture Life. So they've developed a device that can penetrate a human egg and deliver like a single sperm cell. So like what an embryologist would do, I guess. But it's a robot. And they did an experiment in the spring of 2022, and they shipped the device from like Barcelona, where they're located, to New York City to a clinic called New Hope Fertility Center. So they put the instrument together, assembling the microscope, a mechanized needle, a tiny petri dish, and a laptop. And then one of the engineers, who doesn't really have any experience in fertility medicine, used a PlayStation 5 controller to position the robotic needle. Which also, like, as a side note, why do we have to keep using gaming controllers? It
Like the
reminds me of the
Titan
submarine,
submarine.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I
they
guess if
are
it's
they,
reliable.
here, yeah, well, I was gonna say like PlayStation has probably put a lot of R&D into creating the controller, and a lot of people already know how to use it.
Right.
So I guess. I mean, it seems weird, but at the same time, it's like
It
probably
works,
if they're
like,
continuing to use it, it's a good controller. Like it's a
right.
well-designed controller.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. That's fine. But anyway, the robotic needle like saw a human egg through a camera and it positioned itself then to like penetrate the egg and implanted one sperm cell. So during the experiment, the robot was used to fertilize more than a dozen eggs, which resulted in healthy embryos, and now there's two baby girls from this, which they claim are the first people born after fertilization with a robot. So,
Yeah, once AI gets involved in this, it's gonna be freaking
yeah.
scary. I'm a little bit scared. I don't think I like this at all.
Right. That was my thought too. I'm a little scared. Actually, it just reminded me of the movie Nine.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, it's a Tim Burton movie where it's like animated or whatever, but it's like this machine, like basically AI, like took over a factory and started making its own like machine babies, like little like things to go and like kill everyone. And like Nine is like this guy that split his soul into nine dolls and they're like alive and trying to survive. Because the
Jesus
machine's trying to kill
Christ.
all life. So it still
Oh,
sees like, but the machine, there's like a scene where the machine's like actively making more little robot things. And it's
babies.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Um, but yeah, the company Overture Life says the device is an initial step toward automating IVF, which could potentially make the procedure less expensive and more common than it is today. Although I feel like I don't know why they would make it less expensive. I guess if it's just available more so.
Well, yeah, I think it's really IVF is so expensive. Like,
It is.
so I could see this being a good thing for people who need it, but at the same time, like, this is again, I think one of those things that are like, once you do it, you can't undo it. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's like AI, it's like atomic bombs, like Once you
Right.
start doing this, it's not can we, it's should we.
Right. You gotta tread carefully for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now IVF labs are staffed by trained embryologists who delicately handle the sperm and eggs using ultra thin hollow needles under a microscope. Um, but yeah, some startups believe the entire process could be carried out by itself with little or no direct human control. But we're pretty far away from the whole process being robotic.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there. Some of these I was reading and I didn't feel as scared, but this one for sure I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Overture has filed a patent application describing a biochip for an IVF lab in miniature with hidden reservoirs containing growth fluids and tiny channels for sperm to like wiggle through.
Oh, yep. I don't fucking like that.
I know. And Overture's chief innovation officer, a geneticist named Santiago Mune, I hope I'm saying that, said, think of a box where sperm and eggs go in and an embryo comes out 5 days later. Like,
Yep.
that's their
I don't like
vision.
that at all. And
Right.
I feel like this guy is like a psychopath.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of that. Or,
No.
like, I'm thinking like a conveyor belt. Like, you just put it in and then out pops it like 5 days later.
Yeah, yep.
And just
I
endlessly. Like,
don't like that.
I mean, I guess it couldn't be endless because there's only so many eggs in the world, I guess. But still, I don't like that. But yeah, he believes if IVF could be carried out inside a desktop instrument, patients might never need to visit a specialized clinic, which might be good because one single attempt to get pregnant, like through a specialized clinic, can cost $20,000 in the US today. And like, it's not always successful either. But he thinks a patient's eggs could be fed directly into an automated fertility system at a gynecologist's office. And a quote from him says, it has to be cheaper, and if any doctor could do it, it would be cheaper.
Okay,
Which still, I don't know. Would it be cheaper?
I'm confused because why do they need to inject the sperm into the egg when in a human body they don't have to do that? Like, why can't they just mix it all up?
Well, that's how IVF works now. You take the one egg. I mean, naturally, yeah, obviously, of whatever, millions, thousands,
Right.
however many sperm. But,
Yeah,
like, that's
but
not what IVF is, because IVF's, like, guaranteeing, or it's trying to
oh,
guarantee a healthy baby. And
true.
you just doing it yourself is not guaranteeing
Well, I mean,
anything.
you can't retrieve an egg for yours and keep it alive yourself
Well, you're right.
anyway. But like, and isn't the putting it back in part of the struggle with this?
Yeah, I mean, it has to get put back in and implanted, which is why they do like 5 at a time or something, and then like
Yeah,
you're more likely to end up with twins too, or whatever,
yeah.
or triplets.
I don't
But
think I like know enough about IVF, but like,
right now the embryologist like picks out like a good sperm and puts it in one egg and
oh,
like does it more purposely.
yeah.
So like that is part of the job right now. So they're this company's just focusing on like it's not even picking the sperm. Like you'd still have to have someone that picked the sperm, picked the egg, but it just can see the sperm and egg and put it in. So I don't really know how much money that would save either.
Right.
Or their idea, I guess, is that a gynecologist could do it instead of an embryologist.
Well, okay, let's say you had a sperm and an egg you wanted to use and it was like a little like egg incubator. You know what I mean? Like it put it in for
Yeah,
you and then you just let it sit
right. I think
until
that is
it
kind
can
of
be
their idea.
implanted, but like that still
Yeah, probably more like an incubator.
sketches me out a little bit.
It does.
Like,
That one definitely does.
oh, and then I just think how careless some doctors are. Like, this could very
Oh,
easily, like, there are fucking fertility doctors that are psychopaths. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
do we really need more hands in this pot?
Yeah, if
Like,
any doctor could do it, like, because that's what he's quoted as saying. If any doctor could do it, it'd be cheaper, but, like, is it gonna be better?
right. Again, this is a should we?
Yeah. Well, there's more companies, so we'll get to the other companies. Um, but yeah, the entrepreneurs of these companies say the main goal, or I guess to them, I don't know, of automating IVF is to make more babies, obviously. Which I don't understand why that's a goal anyway. But I guess right now through IVF globally, there's 50,000 children born like every year, and they want to
500?
like up that five. Oh, yeah, did I say 50,000?
Yeah.
500,000 children are born every year through IVF globally. And they want to up that number and have it more accessible and affordable. I could see the have it accessible for the people that like need it or more
Right.
affordable. But just to have more babies, like
Yeah, yeah, I don't like how they said that. Like, do we need more
right.
babies or do we need something to be more accessible to people who really want it?
Right. Yeah, the person that was quoted, it was someone was quoted. I'd have to look again at who, but they said right now the 500,000 children, and imagine it like at 30 million a year. And it's like, why is that
Yeah,
such a
why do
big
we
jump?
need
Like,
that?
why, yeah, why do you
Why
need that
are
much
there
more?
why are there 30 million couples
Well,
that
I
can't
don't
have
know.
babies that want like these people I feel like are obsessed with just babies. Do you know how some people have that like I'm gonna call it a breeding kink, but do you know what I
Oh,
mean? Like they're just
yeah,
obsessed with like repopulation. Like I just don't.
right. Yeah, it is weird. Okay, well, I was looking up because I'm kind of thinking maybe they want this to be the preferred method than getting pregnant naturally.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Like, totally take over? Is that it? Because I've just looked up how many babies are born a year globally, and that's 140 million. So 30 million out of 140 million. Like, if they took 30
See, these
million from
people are
this.
scary.
Yeah, I feel like that. Because you can't have 30 million plus the normal amount. Like, that, the normal amount would have to go down, and through IVF would
Right.
have to go up. Is that the goal?
I don't know. I'm scared.
Yeah, I am.
I'm really scared.
Yeah, I feel like they're like covering it up by saying like it needs to be more affordable and accessible, which is like,
Yeah.
yeah, you would agree with that. Like any reasonable person would
Right.
agree with that part. But
But
then,
really, they just have this like fucking fixation on people having babies and them having
right.
some kind of control in it, I think.
Yeah. Or like, do you think like some of them might be like, oh, the white babies are being like not as much, or like, do you think it's like that too?
I don't
Like to
know.
repopulate?
I do feel like white people have more fertility issues. I
Yeah.
don't know why I think that, but I really feel like they do. That's a made up statistic. Don't. But I could like this could very easily slip into eugenics like
Yes.
really fast and I really
Right.
don't like I
That's
don't
what
like
I'm really
that.
concerned about. Yeah.
And then it's going to become like, well, you weren't conceived naturally, so you're a lesser human being. I was specifically picked to be completely perfect and like
Right.
this just like could create such a I don't like
Yeah, I don't like it at
it.
all. Right. Yeah, I'm thinking worst case, but it's pretty bad. But yeah, we're like obviously right now we're pretty far away from an all-in-one fertility machine that could do like the whole process. But like their thought is that even making just like a little part of the process automated would help make it less expensive and would eventually support like more like bigger innovations. So they're in the long game. But the article also said like this could lead to gene editing and artificial wombs, which is kind of what we're talking about, like the gene
Yeah.
editing. Like I could see some gene editing. It reminds me of like the designer babies though.
Yeah, like I don't